First of all, when you were under Coach Jim Larranaga, George Mason, recruited by him, came in, played under him, played well. What was your reaction to him when he left Mason years ago to go to Miami?
That was my the end of my junior year. We were basically coming off one of the, if I'm not mistaken, at that time, I think it was like either tied for or probably the best season in the school history at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Um,
I believe that was the season that Mason was undefeated at home, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, we made the tournament that year and all that.
Hmm.
Beat Villanova that year, so it was a really good into that year, and then that summer was like a really good feel good. But I guess all the rumors started swirling around, and for me, it was just like one of those where like I only had 1 year left, and I just didn't want them to necessarily bring, I guess, somebody who was just basically trying to obviously going to try to build the program for obviously their own purposes. I loved Coach L. His system, once you brought into it, it was amazing. It wasn't a system where it was just focused on one guy, where you just could go out there and get 30 points any night, any guy on our team. And I think that's what made us so good, that any night it could have been, somebody's night. And pretty much it was just going into it. We didn't know. We had heard the rumor, and then we got a call. Basically, he wanted to have a meeting, and then he kind of addressed it himself, and he told us like, "Hey, this is what I'm gonna do." And yeah, it was just kind of like we were like, "Oh, okay." Like nobody really didn't question it or anything like that. It was just like, okay, like I guess we don't know what's next from here, but um yeah, it definitely caught us off guard. But we knew that he took like a lot of vacations in Miami. He had like a home down there. So for me, I just felt like it was inevitable. Like it was one of those things that was gonna happen, eventually.
The thing about him leaving, a lot of people when he did it, they like, oh, he left for a paycheck to get his last contract and all that stuff. He's done quite well for himself while he's been there. So it was on his part, it was a pretty good decision. But you had your senior year ahead of you. What was that senior year like for you under a new coach?
For me, it was actually I loved playing for Paul Hewitt. He was a player's coach. He was a guy who wanted you to feel good, because he like that was his for me that was his philosophy. If you felt good, that he can get the best out of his players. So he took a lot of time into player development and skills training, and basically trying to get you better like as an individual player. Whereas a lot of our practices with Coach L was a lot of 5-on-5, a lot of team stuff, a lot of passing, a lot of things where it's like everybody got to touch the ball. And a lot of practices with Coach Hewitt were one-on-one, individual, working on your game, getting to your spots. It was more, for me, it felt more like pro oriented. Um, so initially coming in, he was very intimidating. Uh, you know, we actually played against him my sophomore year when he was with Georgia Tech, still out in the Puerto Rico tip off. They actually beat us that year. Um, he had a really good team, couple NBA players on their team that year. Um, but yeah, pretty much it was just like, okay, he wanted to come in and he wanted to run his program a certain way. And he had some guys, and like me and Mike and Andre at that time, who could help him do that first year. And as long as we, bought into what he wanted to do, I felt like it was going to work.
Hello, and thanks for watching. Be sure to give the video a like, and you can watch more videos over here. You can also click subscribe over here so you're notified when we have new content here on Expat Hoops.